Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and today at the request of Patreon subscriber Rob, I am revisiting Yorion Bean-Ith. This is the first Up the Beanstalk deck that I ever played on the channel, and it was a super rough list, and Rob's been working on it since that point, and we're back again. Up the Beanstalk, of course, well established as a powerful draw engine in Legacy. Turns out there's a lot of 5-mana spells that we get away with paying a lot less than that in this format. Big Yorion itself, one of the most messed up things you can do with a couple of Beanstalks. With one Beanstalk, you draw a card when you cast Yorion, and then Yorion, here we go, flickers the Beanstalk, and then draws another card. With 2 Beanstalks, you get 4 cards. With 3, you get 6, etc. Pretty crazy. I have found in my testing, if you watch daily, you'll know how I feel about this, that I'm not a big fan of control decks that are using Up the Beanstalk compared to tempo decks that are using it. If the deck that gets to play Dragon's Rage Channeler and Murktide Regent can draw the same number of cards in the mid and late game as the control deck, then why are we even bothering trying to be a control deck? Daze and Wasteland are well established as some of the best cards in the format, and we're just giving up on that because we want to play longer games. However, Yorion specifically might be the thing that flips that script back for me. The 60-card control decks where they just have like some Lorien Reveal, Terminus, Force of Will, whatever, and otherwise they are not really working towards a significantly different endgame than the tempo decks are. They're just doing it worse. Yorion being this card that functionally starts in your hand, I would play an 8-mana draw 7. I would put that card in my decks. And if you have 3 Beanstalks, that's kind of what Yorion is. I'm willing to revisit this, give it another shot. I'm also excited about this list because it is a much better Greenslin Zenith deck than the one that I played last time. Last time I was given a Yorion Zenith deck, and then Up the Beanstalk came out, and it wasn't really intended as that, and I kind of hybridized it on the fly and sent it out while it was hot and new. This deck actually has some time to brew, and we've got Delighted Halfling, Collector Oof, Grist, Leovold, Uro, and Atraxa in the Zenith package. Pretty excited about Delighted Halfling. This just gives the deck another angle. If you just draw this thing and cast an Uncounterable Teferi or Leovold on turn 2, that's just a different game plan altogether that I'm very excited about. And I like the X-Spell nature of the deck. Like Prismatic Ending, if you're in a mid-game where you just have a bunch of mana and need cards, you can exile a 2-drop by spending 5 on Prismatic Ending and trigger your Beanstalk. You can Zenith for 4 when you only need 3, trigger your Beanstalk. For the Erlangus, I mean, we're probably dumping as much as we can into this thing anyway, but if it draws a card when you cast it, oh baby. There's not a whole lot to say about this. This is well-established Yorion Zenith stuff. It's an Uro control deck, but we also have Up the Beanstalk for value. Let's get into it. Let's see if we can keep up with these green tempo decks. 3-for-1 Trading is one of Europe's leading Magic the Gathering retailers. Their online shop has a fantastic selection of high-end Magic cards, especially for vintage, legacy, and old-school players. They now exclusively offer the BoshNRoll community free, fully insured, and fast worldwide shipping on all their high-end singles, full sets, and out-of-print sealed product. They upload new cards every Wednesday with weekly sale offers and reductions. Use my code BNR0723 to get free worldwide shipping on your first order over €341, approximately $380. Scan the QR code or go to shop.3for1trading.com. I'm on the draw in round 1 with an Island Ponder Keep special. Even have a Force of Will in this one. I'm in. We got a bunch of land drops lined up. Ponder can select. Force can keep us alive versus BS. Prismatic Ending can keep us alive versus Fair Stuff. This is basically pretty close to the dream hand for me out of this deck. Oh, we're getting our thoughts seized. I'm not going to force that. Prismatic Vista Swamp is really interesting. I recorded a league earlier this week, which has not aired yet at the time I'm recording this. However, my list is on Moxfield. It was Mono Black Nazgul Scam, which did play Prismatic Vista and Basic Swamp and Thoughtseize in it. If someone is in my Mox field playing Nazguls today, I'm going to be so excited. More likely we're just going to die to Tendrils or some shit next turn, but I'm allowed to dream. Delighted Halfling, B-Storm, land. I do like the Brainstorm. I kind of like the Halfling. Alright, I'm going to put Halfling in my hand. And my plan next turn is to Brainstorm off Volcanic Island, fetch for a green stores, play Delighted Halfling. And then we'll see what this game looks like a couple turns out from now. There are some Orzhov decks too that... Okay, we're in Revealed suddenly. And Preordain. Okay, I was about to say there's some Orzhov decks that are showing up in the format with Sam picking up Wastelands and junk. We could be against that because the Prismatic Vista kind of fits there. Preordain is generally in combo decks. Fair decks don't reach that deep on their cantrips, but Thoughtseize, Lorien Revealed, Preordain is pretty interesting. Oh good, they topped that. I'm so dead. I wonder if this is a show and tell deck. Like some kind of multicolor show and tell pile. I'm gonna Brainstorm. Leyline Binding's in my deck. Not in my hand though. Okay, Savannah goes back, Trop goes back, because I'm about to fetch the Trop anyway. I think that with Ponder as my only blue card, I can't Ponder into a functional Force of Will here anyway, so I should just be leaning into amassing my resources. And if they don't kill me this turn, I can like Zenith for Leovold or something. Okay, show and tell deck confirmed. Thoughtseize, probably going to lose my Zenith here, but Ponder is also a mild concern. If I'm trying to thread something together. Yeah, okay. Makes sense. There are 4 copies of Leyline Binding in the deck. That is currently what I'm looking for, because that's a nice one to put in off show and tell. Get multiple looks at this thing. Ponder. Force of Negation, not helpful. Just got to shuffle this. Brainstorm. Okay, I'm going to Brainstorm before I Ponder. I have a shuffle ready. Leyline Binding, what's up? Okay. Suddenly, we're playing this game again. I'm going to put back Prismatic Ending and Tundra, or I don't think I need 2 Halflings this game. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of that instead, and then I'm going to fetch Tundra and cast this Ponder. Ponder. Teferi, 4th Aerolingus. I do like both of these cards. Okay. The plan at this point is to put in Leyline Binding, hope it beats whatever they show and tell, and then Teferi and stabilize, or 4th Aerolingus and beat. Mystic Sanctuary tap. 3rd Thoughtseize, come on! Why can't we have any fun in our lives? Oh, interesting. They took Teferi, though, not Leyline Binding. Am I just wrong about what this deck's trying to do? That's really fascinating and spooky. Huh. Is this a Beseech the Mirror deck, actually? And we've been hoodwinked? I'm going to fetch Underground Sea here, just get the whole squad together, and then slam this 4th Aerolingus. I'm actually not going to tap Delighted Halfling. This could be a Daze deck, and does that change the clock? It does, actually. They're on a 2-turn clock if I have 3 horses, and they're on a 3-turn clock if I have 2 horses plus Halfling. Okay. Forget about Daze. We're horsing out here. I just got to get this game over. Horses are in. Attack with all my creatures. Okay, they are dead on board. They have to go this turn. They know I have Leyline Binding. Let's see what happens here. If they're an Omni Show deck that can go off over the top of Leyline Binding's trigger, they can get me here, but if they're like trying to Omniscience Emrakul or anything, I actually feel okay with my spot. But them taking Teferi last turn is living rent-free in my brain. If I'm a show and tell deck, I just take the Leyline Binding, ignore Teferi, GG. Okay. Interesting. I wonder if they hit their fail rate, or if they actually couldn't beat the Leyline Binding at the end of the day. I'll take that. A Pyroblast, Lavinia, Flusterstorm, and Spell Pierce. I like all these things. This build has 0 Wasteland in it, which is probably responsible for a 5-color deck, but a lot of the 4 and 5 color decks have 1 or 2 Wasteland for problems like Dark Depths or Karakas, or in this case, Boseiju. Prismatic Ending seems like a blank. Leyline Binding seems like one of my best cards. Grist can kill big stuff. Didn't really see any Collector Roof stuff. That doesn't mean they're not a Lotus Petal deck, but I'm not going to believe it until I see it. Search the Plowshare is not huge here. They are an island deck for these Carpets of Flowers. Force of Vigor is another thing that can challenge an Omniscience after Show and Tell resolves uncounterably. Maybe I should have Force of Vigor in over some more Plows. I saw 0 creatures that game. They might have Bowmasters post-board, could be a plan. That might be a reason that they're black instead of green, which is traditionally the pairing with Omni Show. And then white sometimes goes with it too. But black, it's like Profane Tutor and sideboard cards. Or Beseech the Mirror for Show and Tell. That would be so sick. I think I'm going to bring in Force of Vigor, though, over the Plows. I'll leave 1 in. I still have 3 Teferis, a Grist, and 4 Leyline Binding as removal. Yeah, let's run it. Okay. Turn 1, holding up Pyroblast. I'm going to keep my hand. My opponent played 3 Thoughtseizes last game. I'm not trying to mulligan to the nuts just to get it. My 5-card hand Thoughtseized. Just keep basically any functional 7. Prismatic Vista. Okay. Hold up Pyroblast or cast Ponder here. I think I'm just going to pass. They're fetching in my end step. Prismatic Vista indicates a high basic count across multiple colors, but we also saw Mystic Sanctuary and Boseiju that game, so I'm just wondering how much I'm supposed to respect back to basics. I think the answer is close to 0. With Zenith. I'm going to Zenith for Dryad Arbor. I was hoping to find something I could do for 1 mana and still leave a Pyroblast here. I'm okay not mulling to the nuts, but I'm not okay tapping out of my efficient interaction on the turn where they're about to start representing Show and Tell. Getting flusterized. Okay. Well, that's a piece of protection they don't have anymore. They're fetching in the end step. Another basic island. A 3rd basic island. And Show and Tell's on the stack. Are we dead? Let's find out. Counter target spell if it's blue. This one is. That's lucky. Cool, it's in the graveyard. That's also lucky. I wonder if that means they have more of them, or if I just got them. Multiple beans here. I think Brainstorm and Ponder are a better way to use my energy right now than Beanstalking. If I find a Force, oh sick, Leyline Binding and Flusterstorm. That's money in the bank. I'm going to shuffle away Lorien Revealed. I no longer need that. And do I send a Beanstalk? It feels sacrilegious, but also correct, which is a weird combination of things for it to be. Okay, and now because I'm holding Leyline Binding, do I just let them Show and Tell and get a Bean into play compared to holding up Flusterstorm? I think I'm going for it. I need a blue source that also rounds out this. I'm missing black. Underground Sea will do me just fine here. Okay, let's hope that their 4-card hand doesn't have a second Show and Tell and an Omniscience and a Cunning Wish in it. Land number 4. Cracking their fetch. And by the way, note that just the patterns of cards that were in their deck, we didn't see Show and Tell until turn 3 of game 2, but I was like, yeah, this is a Show and Tell deck on turn 2 of game 1. Just pay attention to that shit. Uh-oh, that was a really good Thoughtseize. I'm going to get punished for my beans. Alright, they're still taking Ponder over Leyline Binding, though. They either don't understand how this card lines up against Show and Tell, or I don't understand what their deck's actually trying to do. And I tend to give my opponent credit when they know more than I do about what their deck's trying to do, which makes me think I should probably stop relying so hard on Leyline Binding, because this is twice they could have taken it with a Thoughtseize and just didn't. Ooh, Rebeans. The other possibility in this spot particularly is, of course, that they just don't have another Show and Tell, and they figure if I Ponder, I can pull ahead better. Oh my goodness. Well, this is messed up. I can Force of Will now and draw 2 cards, and I can cast Leyline Binding by fetching a Tundra, if that is appropriate to do. Okay, looks like just don't have it is the answer. Oh, I can Lingus for 3, draw 2 cards. We've seen Flusterstorm in their deck, though, which I don't like. I think I just grab Yorion here. Bank it up. I can just draw 4 cards next turn, see what they want to say about that. Can't Flusterstorm it, because it's a bird, not a spell. They've not made a land drop in 2 turns, though. I do know that they have 5 cards in their hand, or 5 spells. Okay, if I play Yorion here, it taps me out of the Flusterstorm. I think that rules, though. It's fine. I'm going to go for it. I still draw 2 cards just by putting the bird on the stack, which is plenty for me. to get out of my free thing. Well, the 8 mana draw 2 that is currently pending to determine if it's going to be an 8 mana draw 5, and it appears like it's going to be. Flicker my beans, and unfortunately didn't find a land that I was really hoping for on the first 2 draws there to hold up the fluster, but this is still pretty good. Draw, draw. There's a land. I have to discard 2 cards. That's so many. In my cleanup, I think Atraxa is over the hump here. And do I actually need land number 6? I don't think so. Atraxa and land number 6. Please don't reanimate me. It did just occur to me they might have reanimated. That might be a reason to be black. Preordain, go for it. Yeah, this game with a fetch land up right now is just so much cleaner than a game where I'm tapped out. But fingers crossed, I do still have Force of Will plus put in Leyline Binding, and that's 2 layers of fighting. Plus, if I Force of Will, I draw 2 cards, and could be more forces. I play a lot of them. They top bottom their Preordain, didn't play a land, and pass the turn. Okay. I feel like they're gearing up for next turn, because they're keeping cards now. It's pretty messed up. Okay, I can Brainstorm, try to move some stuff around here. I would like to hit a land drop, and I did just discard a land, so I deserve that. I could fourth Aerolingus for 3, draw 2 cards. I could fourth Aerolingus for 1 and leave mana up. I could fourth Aerolingus for 0, actually, get the Monarch off Yorion and leave 3 mana up. I could also just Brainstorm and see what happens. But I currently have Force Blue card plus Flusterstorm, and I can do that even if I Lingus for up to 2. But my Pyroblast is also my only red source for 4th Aerolingus. Okay, I think I'm going to give up on Pyroblast here and Lingus for 1 horse. Or I should do 2 horses. Okay, red, white. This is the real decision. If I do 2 horses, I can't Spell Pierce naturally. I do have to pitch Pierce to force. I think I'm going to leave myself the most options here and just do 1 horse, but 2 horses changes the clock. It's a 2-turn clock with 2. It's a 3-turn clock with 1. Okay, fine. I'm going to believe in Force of Will over Spell Pierce and take a turn off the clock. I could also just Flusterstorm this. Reasonable. Which, if I had done 1 horse, this would have resolved if I tapped out for it. But they're a combo deck. I'm not. I am pushing damage. I think I'm okay getting a Flusterstorm out of their hand after all that work. Because they're not ready for this Hurricane. I got Force of Will, draw 2, Force of Will, draw 2, Flusterstorm. Then even if your shit resolves, put in Leyline Binding. Good luck. Limb Duel's Vault. Oh, is this Omni Joe? Did it take me this long to recognize Omni Joe? Okay, I can Fluster this and just be done with it. I could Spell Pierce this, which I did leave up mana to make that possible. I am actually just going to Pierce this. With Force Blue card, draw 2, Force Blue card, draw 2. I'm pretty hyped right now. Omni Joe is the Joe L masterpiece that he's been working on with me for months now in my Patreon, and I've played on the channel a couple times. I've played against Joe a few times. It has moved away from reanimation in its most current version, but old versions did do that, and I have concerns. But I'm just going to pass here. I drew a land. I can now Pyroblast, Flusterstorm, Force of Will, Leyline Binding. I can play every card in my hand. I can even hardcast a Force if I'm not impressed by what I'm being shown and still hold up Pyroblast or Fluster. Show and tell. Counter target spell if it's blue. I'm going to start there because additional follow-ups may or may not be blue. Well, that just went in the graveyard. And we're done. Okay. That was a pretty impressive dismantling of a combo deck, actually. I'm generally pretty worried about show and tell decks when I play these dirtily control decks, but we're able to pick that apart nice and clean. Let's roll. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. On the draw in round number 2, I once again have a hand that draws some cards and interacts. No Force of Will this time, but I'm not going to mulligan trying to find Force of Will in my 80 card deck. Truly psycho behavior. When you register a deck like this, you understand that you're built for fair matchups primarily, and you respect combo decks. You have like Collector Roof and Labeled and stuff in your tutor package, but going big into Yorion, you are putting your chips down and saying, I'm going to win the mid-range war, the control war. Let's see what we're up against. A Polluted Delta, okay. And a Tundra, that's a good sign. And a Ponder, you got it. 60 card decks with Tundra in them, what a novel idea. This could be Cephalid Breakfast on the combo spectrum. I'm just going to Flooded Strand and pass here. As with any 5-color deck, there is some fetch land friction. Like, Flooded Strand doesn't get bad lands. There's a couple things like that. Leyline Binding, pretty cool. Tropical Island. The deck doesn't even have a plateau, so we don't have to think about that one. Trop Tundra. If I get Tundra here, then... Wait, Misty Rainforest also doesn't get Badlands? Wow. Badlands is tough to get. What a slippery little fellow that is. Bayou gets me black. Again, no plateau, so I can't actually get 5 colors with the spread that I have. I'll just behave normally and get a Tundra. And go up my Beanstalk. They are representing possible Bowmaster here. Just hope that that's not a thing. And there's no scrub land either. I was thinking maybe if I get Volcanic Island here, I can get to 5 next turn, but then I would need white and black. Uh-oh. We might be dead. Cephalid Breakfast confirmed. Just hope they don't send it right now. Fetching. If they get to Fairy here and try to invest in a turn, okay. I mean, I don't like that, but it does let me have some counterplay here. I can Leyline Bind the Teferi. They bounce nothing. They didn't want to give me a redraw on Bean, but the trick with Bean is if it's in play, I'm going to redraw of it. That's why I put it in my deck. Okay. I can Leyline Bind the Teferi, draw a card, and have what color left over? Again, the Scrubland would be perfect here, but not a card that I play. Maybe I'm supposed to Brainstorm first. Yeah, if I Brainstorm first, then I can fetch, play Leyline Binding. I can make it cost 2. I just can't make it cost 1. Let's start with Brainstorm. Force of Negation. That's not nothing. Bayou goes back in the deck, and do I want this Lorien revealed? It is a blue card. And I have to fetch Underground Sea here. Both of the lands do that. I could also just keep all these cards and play the Bayou, but that doesn't help me. Okay. I'm going to fetch Underground Sea and bind the Teferi. If they counter my binding, we're probably dead. Underground Sea, Leyline Binding for 2 mana. Draw a card. Are we in? Can I get rid of Teferi? Oh, they had the Force. Please pitch the Illusionist. Pitch an Archimedes. Okay. Well, if they have it, we lose. That's why Teferi is so good in this deck. Just gotta hope they don't have the B to go with their A that we've already seen face up. Plus Teferi. Shit, we're dead. Alright, I just gotta see their deck, and then I could concede. Just want to know what their backup plan is. Yeah, this is one of the things I love about playing Cephalid Breakfast. Just Teferi blanks a handful of removal. Just looking for anything that tells me what their deck is doing. They have Bowmaster, notable. Archimedes trigger. Oh, what's going on here? They're suddenly passing priority. What happened? What are they worried about? What's going on? Why did that stop? What the hell? I'm so confused. Is the Oracle in their hand? Is that what we're playing against right now? Holy smokes. I thought we were going to have a normal game where I just died, but instead they've passed mid-combo. I think I have my Force Blue card. If I cycle Lorien Revealed, I don't have Force Blue card anymore. I have Prismatic Ending to Fairy. I just hope my counterspells can beat their graveyard shit. I don't know what just happened. Do they have the Dread Return in their hand? Are they out of Narcomoebas? Like if their hand is like Dread Return and the last Narcomoeba, that makes sense. But now I have Force Blue card available. Cabal Therapy doesn't break this up. Oh, Cabal Therapy from hand. How about Force of Negation that? That way it's gone. Okay. Some lists have more than one. Thassa's Oracle. Okay. They had the Therapy and the Oracle in hand. That's what happened. That makes perfect sense. And they can respond to the Oracle trigger by milling their deck. And so I Force of Will this, I draw a card. And then they just mill out until they find the Dread Return. Bummer, man. Okay. That was weird, but it was weird for a reason. So, okay. I get it. Now show me the rest of your deck. What a weird thing that was. A Dread Return is there. See a bunch of Bowmasters. Orum's Chant. Another Teferi. Okay, yep, dead. I went after Teferi and not the Sepulchral Illusionist because if I go after Illusionist and they just mill themselves out in response, and then I can't Force of Will the Thassa's Oracle or the Dread Return, it just doesn't matter. Like, Teferi actually did just bork up that whole game. Alrighty, Endurance, Pyroblast, Surgical Extraction, Lavinia, Azorius Renegade, Spell Pierce, Flusterstorm. This looks familiar. Another combo matchup. Count it. This one's a little different, though, because they do have creatures that matter. I don't think I need Loam for this matchup. Leovold, kind of sweet. Collector Oof is not textless, but it's also not great. It does turn off Shuko. I think Atraxa is a little too much for this matchup. Okay, Oof's out. I'm off it. Prismatic Ending does have utility. For Theralingus, I could get a little lower on. I still want to be able to win the game on an eject button, but at the same time, this is not something I'm just going to slam into 3 open mana ever. Burrow's a little slow for this, but it does pitch to Force and Endurance. That might be important. Do I want to commit to any kind of Teferi war here? Maybe I can back off Teferi a bit. Beanstalk might just be too slow for these combo matchups. That's something I'm experimenting with now in my own brain, is how essential is Beanstalk, like all the time. And I guess I back off Delighted Halfling, because I'm just looking for a steady game plan that doesn't die here. I will keep this hand. If I Zenith off of Bayou, I can have turn 2 Leovold. Oh, fucking Flooded Strand, man. Doesn't even get the Bayou. Okay. Well, change of plans. I'm getting, I guess, Tropical Island here. I still want a Zenith. That whole conversation we had at the start of last game. Turns out 5-color mana bases. There's a reason they aren't just in all decks. Now if I draw a fetch land that makes black, I can Leovold still. Like if I get Savannah there, I can't Leovold no matter what I draw, because I don't have black or blue anywhere. Lanes. Come on, playable fetch land. Halfling. The card I actually wanted on turn 1. Nice of you to arrive. Tundra. Do I want to attack for 1 or hold up? Or I only have 3 land types. I'm not holding up anything. Alright. Delighted Halfling. Get in there. Attack for 1. They didn't do a thing on turn 1, which means they can't go off on turn 2. Starting turn 3, they can go off from nothing, though. Beans. Force. Leovold is my blue card for Force. If I Beanstalk and spike a land, I can also Leovold. Maybe that's just stupid greedy. If I hit a land, I can also Leyline Binding or Force of Negation. I think I just put Leovold in. And I'm going to tap Dryad Arbor to do it, leaving up the white so they have to think about Swords to Plowshares. Leovold is my best thing against Teferi here. Beastorm in response. Yeah, good idea. That card gets pretty bad from here. The bad news is Leovold doesn't do anything to stop their combo unless they Cabal Therapy me and I draw a blue card, and then they don't name Force of Negation. Land number 3. And they appear to just be passing. Count it. I'll take that. Exciting. Every draw step is a delight. Okay, Yorion Revealed is a land now. I like that. Could start with Beanstalk, see what it gives me. I could also just cycle and be holding up Force plus Binding. I guess I don't get both. I get one or the other. Alright, cycle Yorion Revealed for Underground Sea. Or is Volcanic Island better? Yeah, I actually have red cards in my deck. Leovold, Grist versus Pyroblast for Theralingus. It's pretty close. But Volcanic Island represents more scary things. And now I can cast Leyline Binding, so I will go up the Beanstalk. You know who lines up very weirdly against up the Beanstalk? Orcish Bowmaster. Or lines up very weirdly against Leovold. They can ping my Dryad Arbor, which lets me draw a card, which lets them ping something, which lets me draw a card. And they could just like put 8 cards in my hand and Plague Wind me. Alright, they committed a Force Pitching Teferi to that operation. Cool. Back with Leovold. Fetching, this is the second Brainstorm card from that Brainstorm they cast in response to Leovold that they just got rid of. Land number 4. Land number 4 for me. This lets me put Yorion in hand while still holding up Force of Negation. And Leovold continues the beats. Really like Leovold in this format, by the way. If anyone was asking. Hey, Yorion's in my hand, which is a blue card for Force, which means I can Binding and Force, or I could just cast Force, depending on my read of the situation. They're still just passing. I'm still just hitting land drops. Do I want to ram my Dryad Arbor into an easy Bowmaster block? I don't think so. So I can uncounterably Yorion here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd have 2 left over, which is not enough to force with. Even if I flicker the Dryad Arbor, it just doesn't matter. However, it does put them dead on board and have to do something. I think I'd rather have 2 pieces of interaction up. Fetching in the end step. They're at 7. Yeah, this could have been 6 or 5 if I had thought more about how I'm not going to play Yorion this turn. Okay, land. This additional land actually does matter. It changes the calculation once again. Still haven't drawn a blue card, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can play Uncounterable Yorion, but that's still... Yeah, this is the same thing. I have lethal on board now. I'm just going to leave my 2 pieces of interaction up. There's a Saga. Okay. A little late on that one, I hope. Nomad's Encore resolves. Nomad's Encore resolves. Okay. So these 2 can kind of bounce back and forth forever. I could also Leyline Bind one of them and Prismatic Ending the other and just attack for lethal. That sounds like a plan. Okay, Leyline Binding. Get rid of one of these jerks and go to my turn. Prismatic Ending this other jerk. And then attack for 5. Bowmaster still stabilizes the situation, at least temporarily. Oh, we're going to get a hardcast Force here. Cool. And then I'll hardcast Force of Negation. And now if they're going to interact with me, they're going to have to pitch the Nomad that may or may not be in their hand. Force of Negation, exile everything, attack you for lethal. Cool. Leovold. We'll never really know what happened that game. Like, their hand might have just been multiple Brainstorms at the end that they couldn't cast. But Leovold has that invisible effect on games. Force of Vigor interacts with Urza's Saga in a way that's sometimes worth doing. The Prismatic Endings rotted in my hand most of that game and then was good at the end. Yeah, it's tough because there's a bunch of stuff with some application in the matchup. I think I'm just sending back in with what I had the first time. Oh no, a Cursed No-Lander. I was like looking from left to right. I was like, wow, I like this hand a lot. Crap. Would have kept this with 1 land. Mulligan. Well, I mean, Force blue card and Big Daddy Leo. Let's try it. Uh-oh. Am I just getting goldfished? Okay, Polluted Delta. I already have Badlands in my hand, so I don't need to think too hard about my fetching here. Ponder. Find me the goods. Halfling Ponder, Lorien Revealed. I'm going to put Lorien Revealed in my hand and hope that if they just goldfish here, they guess wrong on Cabal Therapy, because I have Force of Negation, not Force of Will. We got Nomad Beatdown coming in. And then pass? Wow. Did they keep, like, turn 2 combo Force blue card, but not the second land? That's kind of the read I'm getting from the hand. Okay, I'm going to Ponder again here. I'm in the market for Pyroblast or Swords to Plowshares, mostly. Though I would take Prismatic Ending at this juncture. Delighted Halfling, another Ponder to Fairy. Do I want Halfling? Like, I could just put Halfling in my hand, knowing that they're kind of soft right now. Yeah, I'm going to put Halfling in my hand. I still have Force of Negation up. And then next turn I can Uncounterable Teferi, bounce your shit. Also Ponder. Uh-oh, they found the land. Are we dead? I was really hoping exactly this wouldn't happen. I think I should have thought a little longer about the Illusionist. But at this point, they have to read Surgical. They have to read Endurance. Though, if they have Force backup, it doesn't matter. And the way they kept his hand and missed their land drop, I feel like they gotta have backup, or else they're just out of their damn mind. Maybe they'll do their pass the turn trick again. The world famous pass the turn trick. They hit the Dread Return. I actually see 4 forces in their graveyard right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Are we just all in, hoping to Cabal Therapy correctly? Do you have 2 therapies? Okay. Hope you name wrong. Please name Surgical. Please name Surgical. Oh, we got a Sniper on our hands. Okay, they did it. Well done. Ice Cold to Surgical or Endurance, but they named that correctly. And I think it's a pretty safe bet. I don't have Force of Will, or I would have just countered the Illusionist. So, reasonable, but no respect for sideboard cards, and you don't need it. Is the Oracle here? It is. You're empty. All right, GG. Cool. Yeah, a well-placed Cabal Therapy, and they did a good job troubleshooting their good cards in their hand. Game 1, doing like a half combo, and then passing, and then having enough to finish it out on the following turn. Pretty cool. Okay, let's roll. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I am on the play for round number 3 with a turn 2 Teferi action. I'm going to keep. Having the Halfling in your hand makes this so much easier than having to put a stupid Dried Arbor into play. Now I get the Zenith for a real thing later. Hey, let's hope this is a deck that is soft on counterable Teferis. Bobble. Bobbling me. They don't have Dragon's Rage Channeler, or they would have led on that. I'd love it for them to just play a Delver here. I don't really want them to just play a Lightning Bolt here. Or Chain Lightning, sure. That counts. Okay, the uncounterable game is off. But we did get that Chain Lightning out of the system. I drew this stupid Dried Arbor. I hate you so much, you piece of crap. Gotta hate this card being in decks. Okay, I can Zenith for another Halfling, or I can Beanstalk here. I'm kind of into Zenith for Halfling. Though Beanstalk doesn't actually help me move my game forward, and getting this Teferi does. I need access to blue at some point. Oh, there is a Taiga in the deck. I don't know if I fully recognize that until this point. I don't need that. I just want Tropical Island here. Just keep the green flowing. They can daze this, which they couldn't do on turn 1. Bam. Re-Halfling. They put red mana in the pool and untapped it. Okay, a Ponder. Most things other than Wasteland are fine for me here, and at this point, if they Wasteland, they can't bolt. Did not shuffle their thing. Okay. Lightning Bolt resolves. Land number 3. I could Beanstalk and deploy Dryad Arbor, or I could jam Teferi. I think I want the Beanstalk in. I could also just back off, because this is the boat. That Badlands was perfect. All right, I'm going to play around Daze and hold up Leyline Binding here. This is full domain. Neat. Okay, just specifically Badlands off the top. Really brought it together there. My plan before I drew that was play Beanstalk and Dryad Arbor. Okay, a Wasteland, Ponder. They played the Wasteland, and then they were like, wait a minute, Ponder. Delver of Secrets, okay. If they waste me now, I can bind. Which, if they wasted first, I would not have been able to do. Going after my Badlands. I'm going to send a Binding in here. This is a cantrip, and if they fight over it, I just untap and jam Teferi. Cool. Problem solved. They have not indicated to me yet that they have Daze. I still think this Teferi can find a better home. I'm going to put Yorion in my hand this turn and make them come to me. If I grab Volcanic Island now, I can't fetch Taiga with my Flooded Strand. If I get Bayou now, that's my last black land in the deck. Or no, there's another Underground Sea. Okay, no, I'm good. I'm just covered in every direction here. I'll grab the Sea and pop Yorion in the grip here. And we're approaching that phase of the game I mentioned in the deck tech, where maybe I Prismatic Ending for X equals 4 when I only need 2. It's all good. All the same. B-Storm. Found a Scalding Tarn off of that. Okay. Alright, there's some cool tricks that can happen here. I'm going to start with Teferi, see if he resolves, and then make decisions after that. They're fetching in response. What are we doing? Is this a Bowmaster? Okay. Third color revealed, and it's not black. I'm going to seek a beast in response? Yeah, that plays. All right. The beast sought a Dragon's Rage Channeler and a Volcanic Island. Oh, and then they Force of Will. Holy mokes. Okay. All right, that's fine. My plan was to bounce my Leyline Binding with Teferi, give them their Delver back, Prismatic Ending the Delver, and then enjoy the Leyline Binding that's going to cantrip later. But obviously, they had the Force. And Prismatic Ending works just fine against Dragon's Rage Channeler and Questing Druid. Here's the Druid. Here's the DRC, who is large and in charge. And a Brainstorm doing some triggers here. All their creatures have triggers attached. Milled a Delver. I imagine they're digging for Counterspell backup here or Murktide Regent, because they know this DRC is not going to last long through my Yorion. Another Beanstalk. Okay. I'm going to Prismatic Ending Questing Druid to start the turn. That's the most important thing that needs to happen right now. Okay, that worked. If they found a Daze, they got me. I'm going to get Volcanic Island and play another Beanstalk. Yeah, that getting Dazed isn't even a huge deal. I have more where that came from. And I would really like to resolve a 5-drop next turn. And play Dryad Arbor. This piece of shit that if it was a normal land, it would be so far ahead right now. Taking our first damage from the opponent of the game. We played their land, 2 cards in hand. This looks like a Murktide. Okay, I would love to draw a land so I can shove Yorion without fear of Daze, because they're going to be at 1 card in hand after they play this Murktide. There it is. Alright, deck. Give me that untapped land. We did it. Okay, untapped land is the heater that I needed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cast Yorion, draw a card. Unless they main deck Pyroblast, I don't know what they could do here. Just realized Yorion can't flicker Dryad Arbor because it's a land. Okay, Yorion, trigger. I'm going to do the Beanstalk and the Binding. They get Delver back, but I want to take this Murktide. If they have Stifle, that blows me out here. They Stifle the bring the stuff back in trigger. I'm just trying to think of single card hands that I care about here. Stifle would be the worst one for sure. Yorion, trigger. Okay, we didn't get Stifled. I'm going to exile this Murktide Regent and draw another card. And unless they can change their Delirium status, this DRC is going to have to ram into my 4/5. Ooh, they're doing something in the end step. Wait, Brazen Borrowing. Targeting Yorion. Okay. Sure. That works. Certainly not a card I mind having in my hand. Delver did not flip. I'm going to take 4 here down to 10. Then they have the Flyer. Yeah, they would have flipped Delver if the card in their hand was Daze. That means I can Beanstalk and then Yorion pretty safely here. Start with Beanstalk. Probably should have tapped Underground Sea for that rather than Tundra. Like, the white cards are the important ones in my deck. I go to 9. I think I just grab more white mana at this point. I can't fetch Taiga with what I have. I can't double up on red. Yeah, stringing together a bunch of white cards seems good here. Unless they got me with the intentional Delver no flip. This is going to be a big turn. Seeking the Beast in response. Okay. They might still find a Daze here. They can't force from exile because they have no hand. Oh, they hit the Daze! Ah, my life is pain. Alright, maybe don't know how this works. Forget it. Let Yorion in for no reason at all. Disgusting. Alright, yeah, they spiked a 3-outer on 2 looks that they didn't know was there. Fair enough. And this force of negation being negation and not will. Gonna just BTFO me. Okay, my read was right, but it led to an erroneous possible conclusion. Yeah, Seek the Beast does thread that needle perfectly, where it's like, it doesn't flip Delver, and they just flip Delver revealing Lightning Bolt. Okay, yeah, whatever, I'm dead for Xaxes. Or, no, I can force the Lightning Bolt, it's fine. Let's keep playing. Yeah, Seek the Beast, or it doesn't flip Delver, and you might not cast it on your turn, but it might still represent Daze off 1 card, just an insane collection of stuff that just went wrong. Okay, I'm going to force some negation this, pitching the Ponder. I believe Brainstorm to be more important here, because I need to change multiple cards in my hand. In 1 Leyline Binding, could just start the Cascade here. And then, let's see what happens. They have a Brazen Borrower in exile, who they prioritized over the Questing Druid. Force of Will, not the worst card there's ever been. I'm going to brainstorm off of Underground Sea, because there's not actually black cards I would cast here. Leovold doesn't help me. Oh, Grist does help a little bit. Okay, cool. We're doing stuff. Put back these two things, the two lands. If I fetch, I go to 2. So I have to actually answer 3 threats this turn with the cards that I have at 2 life, basically, because I have to fetch because I can't redraw those things. Zenith, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can Zenith for Atraxa here. Is that right? No, I miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. I can Zenith for 6. Damn it. Atraxa would have been the one. Uro gains life. It's probably just Uro. Yeah, okay. I'll take the life gain from Uro, and that means I can also... Alright, well, I'm going to fetch first. Go down to 2. They're hellbent right now. I know everything that's going on. Leyline Binding costs 1. And that means I can Zenith 1, 2, 3, 4. This gets me the Uro, but I could draw 2 cards if I overpay, which I think I should do here. Yeah, so X equals 4 draws me 2 cards, gets the Uro, I go to 5. If these Zeniths draw a blue card, I can stabilize here. If they respond to this with Brazen Borrower, I'm in trouble. They figured it out. I guess it's not that bad, because I can... Oh, I can Binding in response and draw 2 more cards now. Alright, Leyline Binding in response. This is just fewer draws that I get. It still plays. Okay, any blue card in here keeps the party going. White card, blue card. Okay, I'm going to exile... I think I'm most worried about Dragon's Rage Channeler. That one gives additional selection as the game goes on. Okay. Exile that. Then also force Brazen Borrower. I go down to 1. And I draw 2 more cards. Come on, Force of Will. Or, Swords of Plowshares. Swords to Plowshares. There's the Atraxa. And that gets the stabilizing next turn. I still have 2 more draws here. Swords to Plowshares. Swords to Plowshares. Force of Will. Okay. I can do that again. Uro coming in. Gaining 3 life. Makes a land drop. I'm going to drop the Savannah. That way I can Ponder and still maybe cast Plow this turn. Hey, Ponder. Swords to Plowshares. Swords to Plowshares. Prismatic Ending. Swords to Plowshares. We did it. And at a safe, stable 4 life. Get out of here. Up the beanstalk bullshit. Let's go. Uro's in the graveyard. Atraxa's in the grip. Unless they main deck a Price of Progress, I'm feeling good. Yeah. Okay, that was awesome. Pyroblast, Carpet of Flowers, all coming in. Flusterstorm and Spell Pierce I like. Endurance certainly interacts in ways that are relevant for the matchup. Force of Negation sucks. Force of Will doesn't suck, especially with Beanstalks around. Collector Oof sucks. I might not leave all 4 in, but I'm going to leave some. Okay, Force of Will, shave one of those. Teferi is kind of mid. Like a 3-drop on the draw that may or may not meaningfully affect the board. I think I leave Teferi's in. I like Loam. I'm going to shave another Force here. 4th Airling is a card I don't want to see until I'm already winning. Like, I can't introduce the Monarch on an unstable situation. Ending's great. Zenith is great. Lorien Revealed's a land drop. That's really important in this matchup. I like Halfling for the same reason. Atraxa and 4th Aerlingus are kind of like top-end mess that I don't necessarily need, but bringing in the Carpet of Flowers, they both become much more reasonable. I want everything that's a removal spell. Is Force of Will just better than Spell Pierce and Flusterstorm? That seems unlikely, at least in Flusterstorm's case. I do want some forces in the deck so I can just make sure I don't lose suddenly to Price of Progress in the late game. Like, I want that to be a thing I have access to. Maybe I shave one Teferi here and don't bring in the Spell Pierce, do bring in the Fluster. Between Force, Atraxa, and 4th Aerlingus, I think there's something here, but I am committed at this point. Out of time to figure it out. Have a reasonably well-reasoned plan here. Okay, a one-lander versus Delver, always suspicious, but it's not really a one-lander because I have Yorion Revealed and Green Sun Zenith. I'm gonna rock it. Turn 1 Dragon's Rage Channeler, okay. And Bauble, we're not done yet. How sick was the end of that last game, though? I'm still thinking about that. I'm gonna think about that tonight when I'm in bed. They milled a questing Druid. Swords to Plowshares, cool, okay. If they just fire in Wasteland, I have to Yorion Revealed. I have the option of Swords to Plowsharing, but I don't think I'm going to do that into Daze, if I can avoid it. Bauble, Brainstorm, and they kept the card on top with Bauble. Wasteland is the type of card you would keep here. And Bobbling me. They kept the card on top for both the Bauble and for the Brainstorm, so they do really like whatever that is. Attacking with DRC. Are they going to get me second main with the Wasteland? I just believe it's happening. Okay, that's not a Wasteland. It's another threat. The old second main Delirium, you love to see it. I hope I stabilize at 1 again. Okay, end step. Yorion Revealed will become a tropical island. That also just incidentally hides the information they got from Bobbling me. I wouldn't make a decision just based on that, but it is worth doing here. I'm going to Plow first, then Zenith for 0. I don't mind this getting dazed. I prefer that it didn't, but also, here's Dryad Arbor. Cool. And I found one of these Force of Wills. Only 2 in the deck. Happy to have it here. Delver did not flip. Oh, there is a Wasteland, and I mean, Delver didn't flip, so Wasteland is a thing they could have just drawn. Still not happy to see it, but glad I got the... Not to say glad I got the Arbor in the meantime. Alright, fuck this thing. I'm not going to Force a Will to save it. And Brainstorm. The old last play of the turn Brainstorm. I usually lead on those. This will set up Delver for next turn. This is a big turn to find a land. Just drawing it would be great, because then I can Zenith for the Hobbit. But I have Brainstorm if I need to. Opponent is Bobbling me. Is it a land? Tell me it is. And Delver connects for 1. They draw for their thing. I draw for my turn. Ponder. Well, that's better than Brainstorm here. I'm going to send it. Oh no, gotta shuffle this. 2 more cantrips and the Mana Dork. Oh, pain. Well, this is what Delver does. I chose to register a 5-color 80-card deck. If I lose to Wasteland a couple games, that is fair. Channeler, Delver flipped Revealing Ponder. Here's the Ponder. It's going to see some extra cards, or an extra card. If they find Wasteland here, I am most certainly deceased. Did not shuffle. And they did not make a land drop at all. Yorion Revealed, happy to see you. Grab a Tundra. I am just going to fire in Swords to Plowshares on this DRC immediately. Okay, that's gone. I kind of expect Murktide at this point. Like, they kept... Or just keep the 1-drops rolling. That works too. Pressure's on. Alright, let's just keep drawing removal spells. A fetch land actually unlocks Leyline Binding in a huge way. Brainstorm, leaving the white available. Okay, well, these cards are tough. I can pitch Green Sun Zenith to Endurance and save 2 damage on this Dragon's Rage Chandler, which also slows down the possibility of Murktide. Maybe I'm supposed to pitch Leovold instead. Alright, I'm going to put both Zeniths back on top of my deck. And then I'm going to pass and Endurance in their upkeep. Yeah, pitching Leovold. He's not going to help me here. Hope their hand is 3 Murktide Regents right now. Even that I might not beat, but I'm allowed to dream. Alright, your spells are gone. Dragon's Rage Chandler is a 1-1. I just took it from a 2-turn clock to a 3-turn clock. And every turn matters right now. I did not play any cards. I can Brainstorm, see 2 new cards, hope there's a land under there. Or I could just Zenith now for the 1-1, or the 1-2, the Hobbit. Leaving up Force back up. I don't think that's good enough. I am going to Brainstorm, and I'm still tapping the green because white cards are still my best draws here. They could Pyroblast this Brainstorm, and then I just concede. Or I could concede to just not lands. Alright, cool. Delver's going to get you sometimes for not having lands. I had all my Yorion Revealeds in. I had my Loam in. That just happens. Okay. We're back in this sideboard space. Do I think Spell Pierce is better than Atraxa or 4th Aerolingus? Probably not. Nope, same deck. I've already decided. Let's go. On the play this time. On the play, I have the Island Ponder. Dryad Arbor plus Atraxa is kind of... And it's not quite a 5-card hand, but it feels really bad. I'm still going to keep, though. I think having 4 land drops with Ponder around is a good deal. I'm going to lead on Underground Sea. That's one of the least important ones if it gets wasted right away. How I want this game to go, I'm going to map it all out right now. I'm going to Ponder into Carpet of Flowers and then cast a turn 4 Atraxa with Pyroblast backup. Just put that in the bank. It's happening. Ponder. Oh, Life from the Loam. Get out of here. Okay. Plow, Ponder, Loam. These are all just excellent cards for me to have. I'm probably actually supposed to put the Ponder on top of the Loam there, because I don't want to shuffle till I have all these cards. So if I have to plow this turn, and my plan was to just shove Loam right now, but shoving Loam into Daze and then they wasteland my green source, actually pretty horrendous. I could represent Plow and shuffle this Ponder away. Okay. I'm going to play the fetch land in case I decide I need to plow this turn. They just saw Ponder on top of my deck with their Bauble. Like, if they play a land that's not Wasteland, I think I'm just going to send the plow. And then I can Loam next turn with Pyroblast protection, just in case they have Force of Negation. Alright, cool. Plow's live. Ponder is going to happen. I'm going to let the Ponder just fully happen. If they play another spell trying to aggressively get Delirium here, that might cause some long-term ramifications in their game plan. Okay, I'm going to plow in combat, and I have to get Savannah to do it in order for my Life from the Loam strategy to work here. Okay, no Spell Pierce, no Fluster, no problems. Oh, baby. Uh-oh. This is the game we called. I'm going to play Carpet. I have Pyroblast to protect it. This is so much better than Loam, and I could even still Loam this turn. We're in there. Second main. Make 2 green. Yes, make green. Life from the Loam, target Misty Rainforest. Put it in my hand, please. And Atraxa is looming. She does get Pyroblasted, which kind of sucks. And that is the spell they were representing there. Oh no, a Wasteland. Whatever will I do? Too late for that shit. I will not be dredging Loam yet. I will be making blue mana with my Carpet of Flowers. Yes, make blue. I think I run out the Dryad Arbor because I just don't care about it. Yeah, run out Dryad Arbor and put Yorion in hand. That's the play here. Like, if they wasteland that, I just pick it up with Loam and we get back to work. Seeking the Beast in the end step. They have sought a Brainstorm and a Maddening Hex. I care a little bit about Maddening Hex. Not gonna lie. They need a red source to resolve it, though. Brainstorm. I'm actually just going to Pyroblast this, because if they're brainstorming for the red source to cast Maddening Hex, I'm trying to mess that up for them. Okay, that was countered. And nice. Maddening Hex is off the table. They can't get double red from here, or 3 mana from here. Bauble. If they play a land here, an island, I can Atraxa around Daze on their turn. Looks like they're not doing it, though. Okay, not dredging Loam yet. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. Yes, make blue. I can at least cast Yorion here. 3, 4, 5. I think having my land untapped, I like more than getting it for one with Dryad Arbor. I'm not going to flicker the Carpet, it just doesn't do anything. It doesn't come back until after the second main. I don't get a second burst of mana, as sick as that would be. Okay, 4 or 5 creature in play. Nothing to sneeze at. And if they do something like Pyroblast this, that's one they don't have for Atraxa. Heck yeah, they took the bait. Okay, and they are not showing me red, which means they can't Pyroblast, which means I can Pyroblast their Force of Will. Don't dredge Loam. Okay, I am going to make blue here. Blue, white, black, green. Okay, blue does it. I'm going to play Tundra, blue, blue, green, black, white, 1. There is a Taiga in the deck. I'm just going to put Atraxa on the stack here. They need Force plus Daze to stop this. They just scooped the match in response. Heck yeah. Alright, Carpet of Flowers into Atraxa. Remember when I called it? Happened a couple turns after. I said turn 4. I'll take turn 6, though. Let's roll. I'm on the play in round number 4 with a distressingly Mardu hand. I do have force blue card and some removal. If white removal isn't good in this matchup, this hand is a brick. I'll run it. Having the black source means any land I draw gives me Leovold. I rarely find myself hoping for Elves or Delver, but here we are. Seed of the Synod, okay. Looks like we got some 8-cast adjacent things, if not 8-cast proper here. My hand's really good against Swords, or Chalice of the Void. Swords of Plowshare is good against this Emery. Leovold just bonkers in the matchup. They're not going to wasteland me. I kind of like how this matchup broke, given the strangeness of this hand. Okay, I have to get a white source, because those are the rules. If I don't get blue, it turns off all my cantrips I might draw. If I don't get green, it turns off Halfling, Zenith, all that sort of thing. I think Tundra is the get here, but I'm pretty worried about not having green mana. They're bobbling me in right now. All right, yeah, the bobble can happen, that's fine. And then plow this Emery. Cool, she just went away with no fight. Green source. Swords of Plowshares again. Ending this bobble. And it forces a pop, but that sounds like not a thing that I care about. Alright, I really need to draw a fetch land. Any fetch land gets me where I want to go here, but I am a little worried at this moment. Pirate Spellbomb, okay. I can Prismatic Ending that. Thoughtcast from a position of no board. I don't mind so much. Bobble. Bobbling me. They see the Force of Will in my hand. Okay. Okay, deck. How about that fetch land? I'd even take just a straight up Savannah. I'm not picky. I'm going to Prismatic End the Pirate Spellbomb because it's literally a thing that I can do here in a spot where they won't draw a card off it. It messes with their possible Metalcraft, it messes with their affinity, messes with the size of their constructs, but this is starting to go poorly, and this Urza Saga is a complete nightmare. Okay, we're falling behind, and it's happening quick. Oh, Grim Monolith. We've got some spice. Alrighty. Grim Monolith 8-cast. Don't know what's going on over there, but I'm worried about it. A Ponder. Oh my goodness. Please release me from this prison. Find a fetch land. Not a fetch land. It is land number 3, though. It's not green. Yeah, this just doesn't get me where I need to go. The Teferi is a turn late. Like, Teferi bouncing the Saga this turn would have been cool. I think I just have to shuffle this, even though it's a land. Yeah, I'm going to shuffle it. Green source. Green card. Well, I'm worried now. I would just concede here, but I want to know what this Grim Monolith is about. They bobbled the top of my deck. Please tell me it's a green land. Ancient Tomb, Grim Monolith. 5, 6, 7, 8 mana if they want it. 9 mana if they want it. 10. The One Ring. Can I beat this card? I can beat this card with Leovold. Alright, I'm gonna let it resolve. I'm dead if I don't high roll into a powerful card anyway, so I'm just gonna hope that my top card is a green source. And then I actually can work through this Urza Saga with endings and plows. Thought Monitor. It's getting worse. Bobble. And no pop on the bobble. They're going tall with their constructs here. And the last draw of the game is Uro. Yeah, I'm good here. We don't need to keep playing. Okay, sideboards. Force of Vigor. Lavinia. Pyroblast. I think these are the cards I want here. Force of Negation. We did just see the One Ring, but I have Collector, Oof, and Leovold in a tutor package in my deck. I'm not going to get too crazy about Force of Negating the One Ring. Teferi is medium for the matchup. Force of Will is also kind of medium for the matchup. I guess if I win a fight over like one important thing, that's good. If I can just stick a Collector, Oof, or a Leovold. And again, this is a deck that can just have a bunch of random material laying around that can attack and block, and I don't really want to introduce the Monarch until I'm sure it's going to get me there. I like all the Zeniths, like all the removal. Is Grist good in this matchup? And she's kind of weird here, like insect blockers are, I guess, versus a construct is fine. Killing a big construct, I guess being able to Zenith for a Doomblade is generally advisable. I don't think I want to shave a halfling because turn 2 Zenith for 2 get the oof is a timetable that I'm very interested in setting up. Maybe I just lose another Force of Will here and run it like this. Because I'm bringing in other interaction. I'm not going just straight down on interaction. It's just changing form. I will keep this hand. 2 fetch lands and Life from the Loam. Put it in my veins. Land go. Depending on what they do turn 1, I can decide if I want to plow or blast it. If they Chalice of the Void, I'll probably just brainstorm in response and then work my way up to binding that thing. Last game, I was completely ready to ignore Chalice, and this game, I'm actually mega soft to it. Saga, Bauble, more Bauble, Opal, and they appear to be passing the turn. Okay, cool. I don't think I just fire off Brainstorm here. Burrow, I like that card. I'm just going to go Trop Tundra here, get my base colors set up, and then I can fetch the peripheral colors as they become important to me. Loam these up. We're in there. Okay. We survived the first exchange of the game. If they had Force Negation there, I would have been in bad shape. They're leaving their baubles around to just have big old constructs. It's a reasonable thing to do. Not dredging Loam. Oh, there's that guy. Okay. That was an insane draw, especially backed up by Pyroblast. All right, yeah, just how about Collector Roof right on the stack? I have a Volcanic Island to fight over a Force here. Dismember, they just get me with. Right, making their construct in response. Collector Oof is in. Okay, and they didn't take their 2 draws in response, so I wonder if that means they have an answer for it, or if that just wasn't on their mind at the time. Or they think that the big constructs is still the more important thing. Big construct, because you don't get another one here. Okay, I'm just going to fetch for Volcanic Island in response to this search. I don't know if they would go for the Pithing Needle cheese in this spot, but they can't activate most of the things they would get here. Manifold Key, okay. Still a blank with Oof in play. They do have this 6/6. Thoughtcast. Is this a place where I spend a Pyroblast? I think no. Just want to make sure that my Plow on this construct works. Or I think Leyline Binding might be better than Plow, because then I can pick it up with Teferi or Yorion later, because there won't be anything under it. Is there anything Giga Brain I can do here? Just trying to see if I can if I can Loam Uro and still Leyline Bind this turn. I don't think I can Loam in there. I'm not going to Dredge Loam. Prismatic Ending. All right, well, that one might be better than Leyline Binding also. As if what do I need to do first here? I guess I Prismatic Ending first, then play Uro. Or are we back to Swords to Plowshares being the best one? No, the Leyline Binding is still correct for the reasons I said before. I gotta fetch a Swamp here. I'll get the Underground Sea. So I have lots of blue, and Bayou gets me blue, blue, green, green. Yeah, Bayou's better. It also turns on Force of Vigor for hardcast mode. Get rid of this construct, and then play Uro. Uro trigger. Not going to dredge Loam. I will dredge it next turn, though, if I still have a graveyard to dredge with. And I like the position. If they suddenly find a Dismember, I'm in trouble. But other than that, I like what's going on right now. Otawara, that's a real source of mana. I am dredging Loam. This both fuels the next Uro and gets me land drops of the one in my hand currently. This one gets... I want to leave... so bad. I needed to think about this for a minute, because now I can't fetch a red source with Flooded Strand. If I just Flooded Strand first and then leave Misty Rainforest up, I can get Taiga. Alright, I guess I've tapped myself out of Pyroblast like a fool. What is the second best thing to do here? Probably just Tropical Island. And then I can leave up white, which is not as good. Okay, paid off the long-term plan of using Leyline Binding, because I did find the Teferi. Bummed out that I just played my lands too quickly there, because they could play Kappa Cannon near this turn, which I can remove. I can pay the ward just fine at this point, but yep, countering this would have been great. But here I am. All these little decisions matter, folks. They're going to clean up, though. Missing land drops, can't play their cards, dumped a One Ring. I am dredging Loam again here. Okay, fetch. Alright, they've had enough. Cool, tapping out. Right, my mistap didn't end up killing me. That's lucky. I think my deck is still my deck. This is what I've got to do here, and I'm gonna run it. Leyline Binding with all the colors of the rainbow available. I am gonna keep this. I wish it had a green Sun Zenith in it, but things could still happen here. Manifold Key. Alright. About Collector Roof off the top. Up the Beanstalk. Okay. Happy with that one. I'm going to play the Flooded Strand because that can represent Swords of Plowshares if it has to. This key is terrifying though. They could, if they have a Monolith ring here, I am just obliterated. They are passing the turn. Dryad Arbor. I hate this card so much. Okay, Badlands plus Tundra casts Leyline Binding. So does Taiga plus Tundra, and Taiga is just, green is more important than red in my deck. Or than black. Green is more important than red too, but they're both red, so that doesn't matter. I'm going to let them do their construct thing here, and then I can decide if I want to plow a construct or if I need to exile a One Ring. Where they just pass priority on that Saga activation. That's scary. I think they were trying to get me with a Pithing Needle. Right, grabbing Tundra here. What is your selection? Mox Opal. Okay. Plowing earlier would not have turned off that Mox Opal. Okay. I don't think I need to take 4 here. They're not representing 4 mana. And they get to draw 1 card, whether I bind that thing now or on my turn. And now the Badlands gives me up the Beanstalk plus 1 mana binding that draws a card. It's coming together pretty nice. Dryad Arbor's green too. Heck yeah. Alright, they're gonna catch these hands in the upkeep. Force of Vigor, Construct, Manifold Key, pitch the Dryad Arbor. I don't hate Dryad Arbor anymore. I'm back on board. If I can untap without them having a creature in play, I have a great spot to 4th Aerlingus. They're activating Mox Opal right now in the upkeep while they still can. I wonder if they have Metallic Rebuke. That would be annoying. Paradoxical Outcome. That's cool. All of a sudden, here's this going on. Okay, so the construct still dies. I think I want to Leyline Binding the Mox Opal. That denies them a card draw here. I do draw a card. And Opal is the initial mana source that could turn around and do more this turn. I'm just going to take that. Paradoxical Outcome. What a sicko. Oh, untap the Opal in response. Oh, do they have another trick? Ah, so cool! Alright. Neat. They do still draw the card, because repeal, but they didn't, it cost them a repeal. That was a cool trick. I love repeal in a Mox Opal deck. Hook that to my veins. But now they have Manifold Key in their hand. And question mark, profit. Bobble, Opal. I tried to stop this from happening. If they play a creature here, I'm going to be bummed. Manifold Key. Okay. Cast. Okay. Not a creature. Knowing that I could just freaking die to PO is pretty scary. I'd love to draw a Zenith here and put my oof into play. But I will settle for a couple horses. Burrow, Titan of Nature's Wrath. That is not the one. The one is 4th Aerlingus. Just gonna introduce this to the game. Hope I don't get PO'd out on their turn. And off we go. Drew a Grist. I was not sure if this card was even good in the matchup, and here it is. We're gonna find out together. Oh no, Grim Monolith. Things could go crazy from here. Aetherflux Reservoir, that's bad news. That's an actual win con. Thought Monitor. It's good for a bunch of life. Bobble, good for 4 life. Another Bobble. This one's good for 5. And if it's just Bobbles and gain a bunch of life, that's mostly okay, as long as they don't find a draw engine. If they play a ring here, Mega Bummed out, or a PO. Okay, Pirate Spellbomb. That's fine. They can sack Spellbomb to draw a card. They can also pop all these Bobbles to load up. But I do at least have a turn to function here. They should probably Bobble me now if they're going to do it with all these things, because I do play Leovold. They got me with 1 Bobble and saw the Atraxa, and they seem satisfied here. This would be a great turn to find Leovold. Or just a Raw Dog a Collector Roof. I don't hate that. I am going to attack my opponent with my 2 horses, because their life total does still matter. If they block, they can't challenge the Monarch. Grist actually going to be great here. Make sure I leave up green-black. Here is Collector Oof, and I can pay for Metallic Rebuke if that is the 1 card in their hand. Time to pop all these baubles. Bauble just saw Grist. They were about to see that anyway. All the baubles going down the hole. Is this worth spending 2 mana or 2 life to draw a card off Pirate Spellbomb? I would think so. They're untapping Mox Opal. Okay, they could kill one of my horses on the way out if they'd rather do that than draw a card. Flooding red to like kill Collector with Pirate Spellbomb just doesn't work. All right, they untap the Opal and then black, colorless, green, Grist. You may sacrifice a creature. When you do, destroy target creature or planeswalker. Sack one of my horses, kill Thought Monitor, and I'm going to pass. I'm not sure why they took 2 to float that mana if they didn't draw a card with Spellbomb or do something else with it. That seems like just a 2 damage bleed there. They do have 5 cards in hand and Aetherflux Reservoir in play, which can't be activated but does still gain life passively. Emery Lurker, okay. +1 life from the Reservoir. Emery mills the One Ring. Even though it can't activate, they can fog with that. Seed of the Synod, that doesn't work. 3 cards left in their hand. They don't have any blue mana right now, so any counterplay they have would have to be Force of Will. Life from the Loam, I do like that card. I'm going to plus Grist first, see if I can spike another land. Green Sun Zenith, bummer. Okay. I could just spend 5 to exile Emery here, which is the thing that we talked about in the deck tech of maximizing Beanstalk in positions where you're already ahead. And I actually think that is kind of sweet here. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 mana, 3 colors. Exile Emery and get a trigger. They do have the Force, that's fine. Glad I got a card out of this. It's just a 2 for 0. And I'm going to attack with just Collector Roof. I don't think they're going to have a flash creature, but if they do have removal on their turn, I want to make sure I don't lose the Monarch. And draw for the Monarch. There's Leovold. It's getting spicy here. We're slowly closing off the avenues this deck can operate on. Once I get Leo, I don't even care if I lose the Monarch. Okay, they are going to turtle up with the One Ring for a turn. It cannot activate. It can hang out. Another Seed of the Synod. Good news. What did they pitch that for? A Thoughtcast. Cool. Yeah, that was a pretty hefty Thoughtcast. They spent 2 cards, one of which draws 2 cards, to answer a thing that already drew a card. Ugly. Not saying it's wrong, just that it was ugly. A plus Grist here. Hit a Force. Bummer. I do have 6 mana here with this Tropical Island. I could Leo plus Teferi. I could Uro. I can do so many things right now. I think Teferi plus Leo is pretty awesome. And I'm going to lead on Teferi. Okay, white, blue, make sure that green, blue, black is left. Blue, black, green. Okay, yes. I can still Leo with what's left. Bounce. Do I even care about Emery, or do I just bounce Leyline Binding here? I invested in this 100 years ago. Emery, there is Thought Monitor in the graveyard. Okay. There is a meaningful thing they can cast. I don't even care about them drawing cards, because they can't with Leo. I care about flying. And here's Leovold. They have protection from everything, so I'm just gonna pass and draw my card. Next land casts Atraxa. And they've had enough. Cool, yeah, got over the edge there. That Collector Roof on that turn. They had one turn where if they had a PO or a ring, I think they would have run away with it. And then I found the Oof the turn after that. Great games. Very cool that they hid this whole part of the deck until game 3. On to the final round. I'm on the play in the final round. Positive record is locked. And I am going to keep this hand with all the colors of the rainbow and Uro. I'll lead on Trop. I can't Leyline Bind on turn 2 unless I lead on Savannah or Badlands. But I think I'd rather lead on the thing I don't care if it gets wastelanded. Or I care the least. I care about all of them. I love all my lands like they're children. But just like children, I do like some of them more than others. Polluted Delta Go was their plan. I'm going to fire the Badlands out there because if next turn I go drop Uro, put in Savannah, then I can still bind. Another polluted Delta. Okay. I fear for the combo outcome that might be in our near future. Uro, get in there. Deliver the Savannah into play. Oh, am I getting Bowmastered? I'm getting Entombed. Okay. Good spot to do that. Entombing Grizzlebrand. Force Negation was a very good draw. Okay, I was about to say I can Leyline Bind the Grizzlebrand once it's in play, but it's much better if that doesn't happen, obviously. If they go for Animate Dead, I can actually Leyline Bind that with just pinpoint precision. I don't have to do a force. Holy moly. Sometimes you just get there. Leyline Binding. Put that away, please. And the creature does not leave the graveyard. If at any point they can remove my Leyline Binding, they immediately get a Grizzlebrand, but that was a really good exchange that I probably don't get in most games. This Light from the Loam is excellent. I'm going to search for a Tundra and then play the Light from the Loam. I'm leaving up Hardcast Force of Negation here, and dredging this Loam will start fueling Uro. They're fetching in their upkeep. And we're not out of the woods. Like, any additional reanimate spells just keep the party going for them. I hope it's another Animate Dead. Yeah, we could just keep bumming them out. Oh, they have nothing at all? Wow. I'll take that. I'll dredge Loam. 1, 2, 3. Flooded Strand, fetch. What do I want here? There's a Bayou in my graveyard that I can pick up next turn. I think I'll just keep getting Tropical Islands. Does my deck care about anything beyond this point? I don't think so. Green, white, leave another white up. And if I Uro now, I get a land drop, but that doesn't help. Yeah, I'm one short of Uro or Yorion. Right now I can Hardcast Force and then play Leyline also. Fetching in their upkeep. They are either have just a handful of bricks or they're sculpting because I'm not pressuring them and they're just going to hit me with a flurry of discard and then also Grizzlebrand me all at once. Unmask, targeting me, exiling Exhume. I'm going to Force of Negation that. Faithless Looting. Okay. I hope they have another Animate Dead when all this is over. Or just nothing. Nothing works too. Atraxa in the bin. Animate Dead. Animate Dead. Animate Dead. Pass the turn. Oh, blue mana in the pool. This looks like a hard cast Grief. Oh, they're changing their mind. Are we flashing back looting? Okay. And Reanimate, actual Reanimate is still alive here. Actual Reanimate puts them to 10 or 9, depending on who they target with it. But Atraxa doesn't care about life total. All right. Atraxa is going to trigger here. See what they get out of this. I can bind the Atraxa, but yeah, they are quite well reloaded here. They could even Lotus Petal Reanimate Grizzlebrand right now. I'm not convinced that's good, though. And it's better than maybe not doing that, but they do go to 2 and can't activate the Grizzle. But if they keep Lotus Petal Reanimate, Grizzlebrand, or Grizzlebrand Unmask, or those are both sorceries, no dice. Okay. You chose Reanimate, Animate Dead, Verdant Catacombs, Lotus Petal, and Grief. We are at a critical mass of resources where maybe my white removal can just kill these things on arrival while Uro pulls me ahead. And there might be some sort of game to still play. Okay, they evoked Grief, pitching Animate Dead. I'm going to bind Atraxa in response, then they can have my Uro. And they could still Lotus Petal Reanimate, put Grizzle into play. But they can't activate him, and they're at 2. Which means Swords to Plowshares, or another Binding, or anything of the sort immediately stabilize. Okay, they're at 2. Alright, deck, how about some white removal? I'm not going to Dredge Loam here. Hi-oh! Anyone who said Magic the Gathering's hard is an idiot. They have Verdant Catacombs and 1 mystery card in their hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I fetch, I can keep my Loam. Yeah, that sounds worth doing. Fetch. If I get Tundra here, I think that's as good as anything. Okay, Tundra, and then Uro. Blue, blue, green, green. I'm about to have another green source. Yeah, that's fine. Good to keep my life from the Loam. Do not dredge Loam here. Put in Bayou. Swords to Plowshares your Grizzlebrand. Put Yorion in my hand. Okay, here we go. Their graveyard currently only has Grief in it for reanimate targets. Their hand is Verdant Catacombs and 2 mystery cards. They're at 9 life. And they're dead. Love it. Cool. Yeah, if you fought around too long, this deck can just go over the top, even of an Atraxa plus Grizzlebrand turn. I like that. Endurance, Surgical, Fluster, Pierce. These are the days of the week. And then they're in my deck. Prismatic Ending kind of sucks. If they're on the Dothy Voidwalker, Orcish Bowmaster, Pivot, that's whatever. I'll just beat that with my deck built to be creature decks anyway. Grist is a Doomblade we can Zenith for to Fairy. I mean, bouncing in Atraxa or Grizzlebrand isn't the worst thing imaginable. Not super excited about it. I think this matchup might be too fast for this many up the Beanstalks. And Collector Oof, not helpful here. What if I get Beanstalk back in and cut something else? I mean, the matchup being too fast for Beanstalk may be true, but it's also really freaking good when it's in play, and also it's a green card for Endurance. 4th Aerolingus doesn't pitch to anything, but this is exactly the kind of matchup where I want to apply pressure and start drawing cards the second I'm able to. Is it a Delighted Halfling? Also a green card, but probably worse average draw than up the Beanstalk at various phases of the game after turn 1. Okay, I'm going out of a Halfling, and this is my plan. Alright, this hand doesn't have any hate, but it does have a turn 2 Leovold, who's pretty good against a lot of stuff that they might do. And I talk about this every time I play against Reanimator. They have to respect hate at least a little bit, which slows down their Goldfish, which means that hands like this that don't have hate when you kept them, by the time they've like duressed you and passed the turn, maybe you can find some hate. Up the Beanstalk. Okay, now I have the real choice of, do I play this Delighted Halfling and try to get Leovold up, or do I represent blue mana, and I can also actually brainstorm into things like Endurance, Surgical Force? I think actually having something to do is pretty nice. Okay, they have their second black source in play. Moment of Truth. Are they going to play a Dothy Voidwalker here? Brainstorm. In response to this, I'm going to let this resolve. After a nice hearty think, then they're passing on that. But by letting Entomb resolve, I've basically told them I don't have a counterspell, but I might have Graveyard Hate. And they're just launching it. Brainstorm, can you save me here? Moment of Truth. Nope. I am just going to lose to Atraxa this game. I can still shuffle. 4th Aerolingus is a brick at this point, and Delighted Halfling, no longer helpful. Alright, we've probably just lost. Of course, the flip side of maybe they have to slow down is maybe they don't. They did reveal Show and Tell off of this. We got some information. They kept Petal, Ritual, Animate Dead. The Dark Ritual is spooky. They could just do a whole lot more this turn. If they have an Entomb, alright. Okay. I understand. I flew too close to the sun. But we did see Show and Tell on the reveal. I'm good. We're out. My plan in that spot was to cycle Lore and revealed my upkeep for Tundra and hope to draw Swords to Plowshares, but obviously did not happen. 2, I want Pyroblasts in my deck that are only good against Show and Tell. They can also destroy an Atraxa that makes it into play, just ups my outs to that thing. I think I'd rather play to a world where that just doesn't happen, and I have these Leyland Bindings. They're pretty good against Show and Tell. Teferi, still the card I'm looking at as maybe underwhelming. Lavinia is not textless. She does turn off Lotus Petal completely, and it makes it so, you know, Dark Ritual can't cast Animate Dead on turn 1, but it's too late on turn 1 for that to be a thing. Oh, Grief and Unmask are both 0 mana spells, generally. Okay, I think I like Lavinia more than I like Teferi. And do I want a Red Blast, or am I just not doing that? I think I'm just not doing that. Okay, let's go. Zenith Binding. This is another hand with no hate. This one does have an answer to a monster. This one is also susceptible to duress you and reanimate your Atraxa, which is really embarrassing. I'm going to mulligan this. I will keep this one, bottom Dryad Arbor, and I'm going to go Volcanic Island Ponder to start the game. all my pitch spells are on with the green and the blue supported here. Leyline Binding, kind of a stinker. But if I keep this, all right, keeping is a sign of strength. And if they duress me, they can't actually take me off removal because I'm floating removal on top of the deck. But without a Scrubland, I can't cast that removal. But having Leyline Binding floating around feels pretty good versus Show and Tell juke. Grief, Pitching, Entomb. All right. They either have more than one Entomb or they're just on Show and Tell from the jump. I really hope they take Plow because that's the card I can replace easily. Cool. Faithless Looting. Discarding Grizzlebrand, Faithless Looting. Don't peddle me. Do they have the Reanimate also? They just have the whole shit? Okay, Thoughtseize is fine. They're going to take Brainstorm here. And I put the Leyline Binding on top like a clown. There's no Scrubland or wait, Savannah. Savannah works, but I can't fetch it with Polluted Delta. I'm a clown. Clown confirmed. Registered clown vehicle operator. Me. Okay. I'm going to get a Tropical Island and just Zenith for Halfling here. I think I'm in better figure this out mode more than I'm in bluff nothing mode. Exhume. Okay. Exhume's a beating because they don't even lose life on that. I think we're dead. I did mulligan the no-hate hand into a hand that had some interaction and the possibility of more, and the possibility of more simply did not materialize. They're going to 4. I imagine at the very least they can unmask me from here, and then I don't have my answer to Grizzlebrand anymore. And at the worst, they can put 3 more monsters into play right now. I think we're dead. Okay, I'm being griefed here. The end is nigh. This is a spot where Teferi would actually be a pretty solid draw. And they still have 12 cards. More stuff might happen. Oh wow, they're just going to clean up. My chance to draw a white removal spell is still alive. Preferably Leyline Binding, so they don't gain a bunch of life off of it. The cleanup stuff is also a feature, not a bug, for this deck. It's kind of like draw 5, putting a bunch of monsters that are useless in your hand into the graveyard where you can use them. We discarded Atraxa, Magus of the Moon. That's cheating. And I drew Swords to Plowshares. We did it. Do I want Yorion in my hand or to attack for 1? I don't think attacking for 1 is going to make a big difference. Yorion, get in here. Okay, they could reanimate this Magus of the Moon, and then I'm also just dead. Dark Ritual. Okay. Another Dark Ritual. Okay. Are we just casting a Grizzlebrand here? Magus of the Moon from hand. Okay. And animate that on Atraxa. All right, yeah. We're cool. We're cool. We're done. I'm cool. All right. The hate was not flowing. I might have kept a hand that was a little too optimistic in game 2 there. I don't mind my game 3 mulligan. It just didn't come together. I do generally enjoy like playing with fire a little bit against the bullshit combo decks that also have discard in them. Because you mull to 5 just to find a forced blue card, and then they hit you with grief and your hand's non-functional. Versus like they hit you with grief and they take one of your cantrips, and then the next turn you just cast a different cantrip, and you get into kind of a level system. But didn't work out that time. Still a positive record with this deck though. The Yorion piece of it was really nice. Something that it was really good to just work up to that, reach for that in situations where nothing much was going on. I do like that compared to the non-Yorion versions of Beanstalk. Beanstalk Control, specifically. I still like basically all versions of Beanstalk Tempo. The Delighted Halfling was cool as a mana dork. Just getting ahead of Dazes and Wastelands was a big deal. I think I only actually cast 1 card off of this Delighted Halfling in this whole league, but it was a good one. Uncounterable Leovold versus a deck that cares about it. It did win the game, so scoreboard, I guess. The ability to X for more than you need when you have Beanstalks in play came up multiple times. That was pretty great. I Zenith for 4 when I only needed 3. I Prismatic Ending for 4 when I only needed 2. That all worked out. Leyline Binding, cool. Versus Animate Dead and Show and Tell, we learned. I do think this is a pretty good spot for a deck like this to be in if you want to be playing a deck like this, which a lot of people do. Rob, thank you for sharing your Yorion Bean-Ith deck with us. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.